Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dictation, and I'm a USA Today bestselling romance author of contemporary romances of all lengths. I write under multiple pen names, but all of them are under the romance umbrella, and I just love love. So if that sounds like something that you're into, go ahead and follow along. Hit that subscribe button so that you can know every time I publish a video. Hit that notification bell so it notifies you. And hit that thumbs up button so that I know that you're supporting me and you appreciate the type of videos that I'm putting out. Today is going to be a shorter video. We're going to be discussing beginner dictation tips that I think would have helped me if someone had told me before I started. And I don't know how much you know about me or my dictation journey, but right now I predominantly dictate unless I'm in an area where I can't, and then I switch it up. So stay tuned if that's something that you want to get into, or you are trying, you're just starting, and you're finding yourself struggling, whether that be because of the craft or the mindset. Stay tuned. I'm going to give you a few tips that may just help you. See you soon. Okay, thank you so much for sticking around. Again, my name is Deidre Anderson, and I am a dictation girly. I've always been sort of an on and off dictation person. I apologize too if you're seeing my head cut off. This is not the normal setup. It is the same place, but there are so many things on my computer desk right now that there's not much places to set up my phone. Again, we'll get into that, okay? So, and this is an off-the-cuff video because I know I am trying to stick to a video every other week, and this would be the week for this video, but I ran out of group to videos, batch filmed videos, and so and school starts tomorrow, so I know that if I don't get it out the way today, it won't happen. Today is not the best day pain-wise, but we're doing it. We're going forward, and we're doing the best we can. So let's get into the video. Now, the reason why I choose to dictate, I am a chronic illness girly. And I say that because I refuse to say I'm suffering from anything. So yeah, I'm a chronic illness girly. And for some reason, my body believes that chronic illnesses are magical gems, that it should collect them all. I'm up to 11 and I'm at my wit's end. So I can't. I smile and I laugh and I go through it all. Mostly in silence. A lot of my illnesses are what we call invisible illnesses. So I could be in detrimental pain. And unless I want you to know, you'll never know because you won't see it on me. But I do have a few, like the rheumatoid arthritis, that affects my joints and eventually become visible. I don't know if you've seen my hands, like I'm going to try and give my hand model days a try. If you've seen me, well, in person or on stream or anywhere, and you've seen my hands, right, you would realize that right now they're pretty good today. Actually, they're pretty good. They're pretty good today. One is better. Like this hand has always been better than this hand. So, and if you can't tell, this is my hand straightened on both hands, right? My hands are straightened. If you realize drastically, this does not go as straight as this one, right? This hand is being more, we're not saying deformed. What can we say? Like special than the other one. And I can't stretch my fingers. Like if I try to like extend my fingers, like these are extended and this hurts doing it more than this. This is as far as it extends. Right? If you realize the fingers are still like, what you call it? Fine, we'll say disfigured. The fingers are still not how they should be. So I find that it hurts a lot and it's very like hard to type for long periods if I don't have to. Back in the day, as if I'm an older person. Back in the day, I don't know if I've told stories, but I've written whole books in weekends, and I used to be like the typing machine. I started my writing journey as a freelance writer, a ghost writer. So I would write like 100,000 words in a week and 100,000 words in 2 weeks, depending on what crazy clients I got. I think that's where I got my Delulu-ness from, because I'm so used to doing it. That's how I started my writing journey. That was working for others, and they had Delulu requirements, and I met them because I had to pay my bills. So, and I think over time, because I kept doing that, and at the time when I was doing that, I didn't know I had rheumatoid arthritis. I'm from Jamaica. A lot of diagnoses are slower there. And I'm from a family that believes in not claiming sicknesses. So if it wasn't like, and again, most of my illnesses are invisible illnesses. So you can do the math about that, about how many of them my family even believe I have. But because they can't see it. And then I understand that a lot of people, if they don't see something, they don't believe it. So there's nothing I can do there. But when you're always in pain, you find a way to do what you want to do. And I knew right from the jump that writing was it for me, right? Whether that was when I was growing up wanting to be a journalist, or growing up and moving more into ghostwriting nonfiction and fiction projects for others, and then moving into writing for myself, I knew that this was it for me. So I had to figure out a way, especially with doctors telling you that it's only going to get worse and your joints are going to be disfigured. And so you got to find ways for preventative measures and to keep doing what you love. And for me, that has become dictation. When I was ghostwriting, I did dabble in we're going into software. So my first tip, these are supposed to be tips. I haven't even told you the tip. This is what happens when I don't script. So tip number 1 is to find the dictation software that works for you and your situation. Now, for me right now, that is Scrivener and Google Docs. And I do that specifically for my situation. I used to do Word a whole lot until I started having issues with OneDrive. So because I'm a chronic illness girly, I'm not going to be sitting here 24/7. When I do these videos for you, I'm sitting here for that period, and I go back into my bed. I work predominantly from my bed. There are days when I sit here for longer, especially when I'm trying to play a game or hanging online with other people. I don't like doing that from my bed because I don't know, it's just in me that I shouldn't. So I try to sit here for as long as I can, knowing full well that the next day I won't be able to move. But that's like a sacrifice I make. I go into certain things logically. I'm always in pain. I'm in pain right now, but every day is a different scale, so to speak. So if I sit here and I'm playing a game with my hands, I know fully well that the next day is going to be a very, very slow, painful day for me, and I probably won't be able to type as much. So dictation has to be my best friend. So for me, if I'm on my computer, I'm dictating Scrivener now because of those OneDrive issues. What would happen, I didn't explain. If you want to use Microsoft Word, you are free to. It is free. And you'll realize all the tools that I use them specifically because I either already have them or they're free to use. If you already have Microsoft, the Microsoft Office suite on your computer, their dictation software actually isn't really that bad. It got my accent pretty well, and I was able to dictate in it. But what would happen is I would dictate on my phone, come to my computer, the things I did wasn't there, or vice versa. I would dictate on my computer, go to my phone or tablet, and nothing will be there. The OneDrive wouldn't update, it wouldn't sync. So I found out I was constantly redoing stuff I already did, and that was wasting my time. So I had to come up with an alternative. Now, if you're a Scrivener girly, you know, especially if you're on the Windows, you'll quickly realize that Scrivener does not have inbuilt dictation in the Windows version of the software. The Mac girlies do get, and I say girlies liberally. So when I say girlies, I mean everybody. Everybody, regardless of gender. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. The people with Mac, let me say that. The people that have Macs, and Scrivener, they are privy to actual dictation, inbuilt dictation in Scrivener. So if you're on a MacBook, it's easier for you to access your dictation. I believe you just press F5. I haven't dabbled in Mac dictation. I do have a Mac that I use for Vellum to format my books, but I don't dictate on it. But I'm almost sure, I'm going from memory, so cross-reference. I'm almost sure the default button is F5, but if you want to change it, you change it, which is, I've always found a little bit weird, because the settings to change your dictation button is under your keyboard settings, I think. So I think you go to keyboard and then dictation, or dictate, I don't know, and then change the button there, but I think it's F5 for you guys. I have a Windows computer, so it's not inbuilt into my Scrivener, but it uses a speech recognition software that is inbuilt in Windows. So to access your dictation software, I'm sorry, I keep picking at my eyes and my nose and everywhere, but my skin is itchy. I think I'm going into a fiber flare, and I hate that for myself. I hate that for myself. And off tangent, I don't know if you have or know of somebody with fibromyalgia. It's like, it's sort of, for me, it starts a little bit different. I don't know a lot of people with fibromyalgia, so I don't know who to ask. But for me, every time I'm getting a flare, it starts like allergies, where, like my skin becomes itchy, and then all of a sudden I can't keep anything on my skin. If it's really bad, I can't even keep clothes on. It's like, it's very, so yeah, it leaves you very like irritated. Everything irritates you. Well, with me, everything irritates me. Things touching my skin irritates me. Like certain materials, it's annoying. But anyway, that's not a part of the video. What was I saying? Scrivener, right? So if you're on a Windows, it uses a speech recognition software. So you open your Scrivener onto the page you want to dictate, and then you press the Windows H, and that will give you, a mic will pop up, that will give you your speech recognition for Windows, and you are able to dictate flawlessly in your Scrivener using that method. Now, on Google Docs, if you're using Google Docs, which is also free, as long as you have Google Chrome or a Google account, a Gmail account or a Google account, you literally just go to Tools and Voice Typing. Now, there are things to consider with both. If you are just getting into dictation and you're not used to, say, dictating your punctuation, which brings me to point 2 of choosing your software, is know what you are comfortable with. In Scrivener, when you're dictating, because it's not an inbuilt dictation software, it will not do your punctuations. So you have to say exactly what you want it to look like. So, for example, random sentence. If I was dictating in Scrivener, I would say, I, comma, on the other hand, comma, love pancakes, period, right? You have to say all the punctuations. If I wanted a new paragraph in Scrivener, I would say new paragraph. In Word, I think I say new line. I don't remember having used Word in a hot minute. With Google Docs, because it's an inbuilt tool, it does get some of the punctuations for you. Granted, depending on how you speak, it may not always be accurate, but it will get some of the punctuations for you. It will fill in commas, it will fill in full stops, and it does it based on how long or short your pause is. So if I wanted to say the same sentence in Google Docs, I would say, I, on the other hand, love pancakes. So because I paused, right, it will input commas, and then after pancakes, I would just do a longer pause. Then it would know that my statement ended, right? And it sort of does, like, I don't know how it does it, but it sort of uses the inflections in your tone, I think, and the rate of your speech and how you say stuff to decide if it's a question or a statement. Many times over there, I still have to say like new paragraph, new line. But that's because I think because of me, how I speak differently, which brings me to point number 3. Pick something that matches your accent. Now, I know a lot of you guys think I speak like this on a daily basis. No, I do not. I do not. When I am speaking to you guys, I try to speak slower, and I still go a little fast, but not as fast as I do in my daily life. And I work hard, very hard, to speak in like more standard English so that you can understand what I'm saying. I'm Jamaican, okay? This is not how I speak. And if you've ever heard me speak to like my parents or my husband, like if you've ever been hanging out with me and I get a call or my husband comes in, this is not how I speak. My husband calls it my customer service voice. And I think he may be right. I spent most of my life in the service industry and management. So I was always like corresponding with clients and potential investors and stuff like that. So I had to learn, because in Jamaica, we handle like customer service, technical support, and like client management for a lot of American companies and companies in the UK and stuff like that. So you have to train yourself. Like growing up, I would get in trouble if I didn't like speak standard English in certain situations. So you have to train yourself, and not everyone can do it. Not all Jamaicans speak like me. This is not a Jamaican accent. Funny enough, in Jamaica, when I'm there, people think I'm American. Until I actually speak to an American and you realize quickly, no. Even with my camouflage accent, I still don't sound American. I don't know what they hear, but they think I'm American when I'm in, like they always think I'm a tourist if I speak like this, and I get charged higher prices because they think I'm a tourist. But you have to find something that, if you can't do the camouflage, you have to find something that works for you. This is how I speak to my dictation software, because again, if I speak how I generally speak, it will not understand me. I've tried. I had a Jamaican character in the first public series that I published. I had Jamaican characters. The characters in there were half Jamaican, and their parents and grandparents spoke like patois. And patois, or Jamaican patois, is basically broken English. And I could not dictate that for my life. Like anything I said, it would write complete jobber, or whatever you would call that. And so you have to find something. And I know a lot of us people that either English isn't your first language or standard English isn't your first language, because English is my first language, but broken English is what I grew up speaking. So it sounds different. The wording is different. And the pronunciations of stuff are different. And the way I say certain terms are just different. I learn new things every single day that you guys say in America that I've never heard of in my life. But on a daily basis, and things that I grew up saying normally are like either offensive to you guys or said completely different to you guys. I don't go a day without someone saying, what? But so that's the same way the dictation software will react without saying the what. So you have to either adjust how you speak if you have an accent like me, or find something that can register what you are saying. For me, the two best ones that do that are Scrivener and Google Docs. Word did pretty well with my accent too when I spoke like this. But if I should go off in my Jamaican dialect, none of them would get it. Actually, no. I think Google Docs picked up some of the words I said once when I was speaking to my husband. They didn't get them correctly, but it was close. So you have to find a software that works for you. If you go with paid software, some of them, like Dragon Naturally Speaking, that's what I started out with when I was doing freelancing. That's before they changed their pricing structure. It's ridiculously expensive right now, and I refuse to pay for something that expensive for things that tools can do for free. But if you want to invest in paid software, something that you can train, Dragon Naturally Speaking is essentially the industry standard, and you can train it and it will learn from how you speak. The more you use it, the more it will learn your accent and pick up stuff you say. You can't train Scrivener because they're using the speech recognition software. So you may find yourself telling it the same things multiple times, or correcting the same thing multiple times, because you can, if you edit as you go, which I don't do and I actually don't recommend. But if you, when dictating, I edit as I go when I'm writing. But when dictating, I don't do that because it takes me out of the flow. So, but if you are an editor, like edit as you go type person, you can literally, without touching your keyboard, you can say select, what was the sentence I used earlier? I, comma, on the other hand, comma, love pancakes, period. If for some reason it had written on the other fan, load pancakes, right? You could say like select fan and then say the right word. So you'd say select fan, hand. Like you try to enunciate more so it knows what you're saying. Or select load, love, right? So you would say stuff like that to correct it along the way. Again, me doing that takes me out of the flow, so I stopped doing that. I used to do that when I first started, but I stopped doing it. Now, if you did something like that in Dragon Naturally Speaking, the more you correct it, the more it learns from you. It literally you're training it as you go to be your perfect dictation partner. So with Dragon Naturally Speaking, that or a software like that is paid would learn as you, the more you use it. So you'll find that the more you use it, the more flawless your dictation becomes. However, it does come with a pretty price tag that I refuse to pay because it was not like that initially. It just, like, this subscription turn, can I say I hate it? When I was back in my day, you would buy a software or you would buy a game and you would own that game. But now everything is like a subscription or insanely expensive to buy a copy that you can get for a lifetime license, because you're still not even owning these things. And I hate it. I hate it. So I don't see why I should pay for that when there are free tools that you can use that are just as effective. Either if you want to use the free tools to get started or you want to use the free tools long term like me. Those are the software tips I have. The only other things I can think of is to remind you, which the tip is keep going. And this is to remind you that dictation is hard. Like, you in the numbers, when you hear like, I can dictate, if I'm really in a flow, I can dictate 5,000 to 6,000 words in an hour. If I'm really in a flow, that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes I get 500 words in an hour. Sometimes I get 1,000 something, just like writing, okay? But it takes time. And when you're just starting out, you won't get those numbers, okay? You won't get those numbers. You are going to be in your head about dictating and fixing everything what you see it. So it takes time. What I learned is that I go much faster if I'm dictating on my phone. You know why? Because the screen is so small, I'm not looking on the screen. So I'm not going through and correcting everything as I do it. That really improved my word flow, because when I dictate on Scrivener on the computer, I'm seeing the screen. And innately, as I said, when I'm typing, I edit as I go. So instantly, as soon as I see something that it puts that I did not say, I either start laughing or I have to correct it. And so I find that I move quicker on the phone. And again, it doesn't always flow. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I could never dictate because the thoughts don't come quickly. So I say a lot of ums and hms. I say those too. With the good software, see, I say it now when I'm talking to you guys. I do say a lot of I say a lot of words that shouldn't be in there. Not a lot of software will put your filler in, right? Scrivener rates everything you say because it's speech recognition. When I was using Dragon Naturally Speaking, there was a setting where you could go in and like limit filler. So it will like detect what's filler, and it won't, some of the ums and still go through, but the majority of them wouldn't be in your manuscript. But again, I find I don't mind the ums and the ums because I'll go into editing in a second. But basically, I dictate the whole thing. I get it out. I think of it as it's not a polished draft. It's like, it's not even my first draft, really. It's like just getting it out. It's like my vomit draft, right? I'm getting the story out of my head, out of me, and onto the page. And then afterwards, I fix it up to be my first draft. So, and I don't do it all. What I do, because I will forget, I have a dory brain. What I do is I do a chapter, I stop, and then I go through the chapter. And I find that because I'm not doing too much at once, I said it's going to be a short video, because I'm not doing too much at once, I don't forget what I'm doing. So I do like 45-minute sprints, and I dictate for 30 minutes. Then I read over immediately. After I finish that 30-minute set, I read over for the next 15, and then I take a 15-minute break. And I try to get my thoughts together. Now, if you are just starting out and you are not used to dictation, my number one tip is to make bullet points of what you want to say. Because we take for granted how hard it is to come up with thoughts, like cohesive thoughts while you're speaking. Not everyone can do that. I have a talent of saying shit, even if it's shit, and not being self-conscious about it. But a lot of people can't do that. And a lot of people have to think through what they're saying before they say it. So my biggest tip, even if you're a seasoned I was going to say dictator again, even if you're seasoned in dictation, I would say that's my number one tip, to make bullet points before you start. Because if you have bullet points, or if you're an outliner, great, you have your outline, so it'll be easier for you to get your thoughts together and speak what you want to say. But for someone like me that pantses their stories, pants, words, see? For someone like me that write their stories from their head predominantly, having bullet points, or at least like small short phrases of what I want to happen in each chapter, or each scene, or like, steps to follow, makes it easier to dictate, and I go quicker that way because I'm not having to stop to come up with a plot in my story. Now, sometimes I go off the riff and it ends up being different than what I write down, but having that roadmap really, really helps. So I think even if you're not planning the whole thing, I think if you take like 15 minutes before you start speaking to get your thoughts together and jot down what it is that you will be talking about. It's like doing a video, right? Doing a presentation. You have those bullet points and it jogs your memory of the idea you had. So it's easier for you to like get in the flow and speak what you want to speak. That's my number one tip. Number two, don't expect this to sound natural. Don't get in your head. It's okay to say the ums. It's okay to say the hmms. It's okay to do the filler, right? Because you're going to be reading through this and you're going to be editing it anyway, right? And when you are writing, well, I don't know about you. When I am writing off the top of my head too, I write a lot of foolishness, okay? Most of the words I write when I'm writing a first draft don't end up in the book. It gets deleted. And I'm not tied to those words, so it's easier for me to just go, okay, I have no clue what I was saying here, just delete. Or it gives me, like, I call it slush when I'm done. But guess what? It's easier and less, like, demanding on my joints to go through and edit a thing than typing 100,000 words out with my hands. So my number one tip is to have the bullet points. Number two tip is not get in your head. Just get the story out, however you speak, however you say it. If you have to correct as you go, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, especially when you're first starting, do whatever you can, figure your process out. So if you know that you need to see it on the screen, do it on a computer and try to dictate that way and correct what you're saying. Just don't get in the habit of jumping on your keyboard and correcting it, because you need the practice. The more you dictate, the better you will get. So do the corrections with your mouth. So, one tip I didn't say, if you're dictating on a computer, especially if you're using a laptop, the laptop mics suck. Almost all laptop mics suck. So you need to get an actual microphone to dictate on the computer, like an attached microphone, or at least a headset that is close to your mouth. If you're not going to get like a professional microphone, I have the HyperX. I actually bought this for school purposes, but it works for my purposes for dictation. It's really, really sensitive, and I can turn it up and down. I can turn the volume up or down if I want it to be more sensitive. Towards the back, I can change it to if I wanted to just hear me at the very front, or if I want it to hear my surroundings, or if it's a conversation and there's two-way audio, I can do that too. That would be cool if I ever did something with my husband that I wanted to dictate something and he was talking from one end and I was talking from another end. I should try that. I can see that being good for an audiobook tangent. But anyway, yes, you need good equipment. The microphone on your laptop sucks. Most phones, at least I have an Android phone. I don't know about the iPhones, unfortunately, but my Samsung is brilliant with picking up what I'm saying. However, you could use let me see if I can reach it. It's behind here. I'm sorry, I'm getting really close to you right now. Really close to you right now. But if you get like a headset with, I have an attachable mic. So sometimes, again, because I don't want to see the screen, I walk away. Whoop. I think it came off. I don't want to see the screen, so I walk away and I will like go onto my, or I can't sit anymore, so I go onto the bed. But if I'm halfway in on the computer, I'm not going to stop halfway and switch to my phone. So what I do is I connect my microphone and I make sure that the mic is close to my mouth. If you're far away, chances are it's going to pick up. I speak loudly, but if you're far away, especially when you're just starting and you feel awkward talking out loud, it's almost always better for you to have the mic close to your mouth. Now, it will pick up a lot of your ums and ums, but that's okay. So if you can get the mic close to your mouth so that you don't have to speak as loudly. If I was even speaking like this, it would still pick it up because it was right in front of my mouth. So having a good equipment and adjusting the equipment makes it easier for you to be heard clearly and for your words to be recognized easier. So those are the tips I have. I hope this was helpful to somebody. If you have more questions, drop it down below. Remember when you said it's going to be a short video? I'm on 30 something minutes. What? Drop the questions you have down below in the comments and I'll try to answer as much as I can, or even make a part 2 if you have bigger questions that I could not say here, or if I forgot to say here. So feel free to drop them down below. And again, go ahead and like this video so I know that you appreciate the content that I'm putting out. Hit that subscribe button to join my YouTube family. We're a little small family right now, but I'm trying to actively grow the channel, so please double check if you're subscribed. If not, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. I will be trying to upload a video every other week. I do also have a ton of books to get done, and I will be in school full-time again starting tomorrow. So I will be trying my very best to put a video, at least 2 videos out a month, every other week. There may be times when I won't do that, but if I can't do a video, I'll try my best to do like a post on the community tab, so you're still getting something from me. All right, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and hit the thumbs up button so I know you like the content I'm putting out. Again, my name is Deidre Anderson, and I'm a USA Today best-selling romance author. My books are on Amazon. I do have some books that are on wide platforms and also in your local libraries. So on the Libby app, I think is mostly my ebooks that I find that are in libraries, but I did get a really cool message from one of my readers that found my book in their local library. So hey, it may just be. So, and if you do find my book in your local library, tell me. I love hearing those things. But anyway, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, rest of your week, rest of 2026, and that the year is good to you and all your dictation dreams come true. That is all I have for you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Until we meet again. Bye.